a supermarket. So the first thing you see is Lidl. You see the brand of the business, and then you interact with the product, and then finally you interact with the people as you're transacting. I think the new type of business is different. I think I get the sense that it's reversed. So the first person you see is the person. A lot of branding and a lot of businesses today are all about personal branding. I mean, for those of you that have watched my sister recently, I think we've all been impressed with how she performed on Apprentice, and I think let's give her a round of applause on how she represented Zambia in the Apprentice. I don't even care what business she does, because what I saw was a personal brand, and that's what a lot of people have seen. So even if anybody's intending to invest in her, it's not what she's doing, but they're investing in the person. So the way I look at it now is, if it's your personal brand that people get to know, and then in the end they say, oh, there's actually some product behind this person. And then thirdly, oh, there's actually a business that's actually producing those products. So I think we need to look at our personal branding, and I'll have a more discussion about that as we go down. Thank you.
You see, you ask a man to give his elevator pitch, and the first thing he chooses to do is amplify what other people are doing. Uncle Mulemba, okay, I see you. My sister, do you mind just giving us your elevator pitch? What was your first kind of pitch? You know, because I'm sure you've spoken to a few investors, as we witnessed online, on TV. But yeah, what was your first, do you remember what your first elevator pitch was like?
Hi everyone. What was my first elevator pitch? I think it probably would be about my business that I'm running right now, because I'm still very young in business. I've only been running my business for 3 years, or just coming up to 3 years. And so I would say to them, hi, I'm Chisola Chitambala. I am currently the owner of CV Virtual Assistant. What we do is we provide you with administration, project management, diary management, and all of the things that you want as a business owner that take up too much of your time. We take those off your hands. And I think I would keep it quite brief to about 20 seconds like that.
Okay, so Uncle Mulemba has told us, basically, it is about your personal brand. You smiled a lot in The Apprentice. You know, as you said, she's done us proud. You know, you embodied that Zambian hospitality, welcoming, beautiful spirit. A question for me is, where did your entrepreneur journey start?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say my journey started from when I was a child. Coming from parents that immigrated over to here in 1989, both my mum and dad came. My mum was a nurse, and she came over, my dad was studying, and they were both obviously trying to better their careers themselves. And I, growing up as a child, wanted all of the nice, shiny things that my mum would usually say no to. And so I started to sell sweets at school to try and earn a bit of money, a bit of pocket money, so that I could then buy the little lip glosses, the little Barbies that I wanted to be able to have that my friends had. And so that's kind of where it initially started from. But I guess if you take it back even before me, I guess learning from my dad, my mum, my grandparents even. My granddad used to walk 40 kilometres to school on a Sunday, 40 kilometres back on a Friday. And lots of his friends didn't make it because it was too much. It was too much, but that start of graft, hard work, wanting to go for something from a young age has definitely been instilled into my dad, into my mum, and I would say into me as well. But it was all started from that stage.
Hey, man, okay. Sweets. What age was that? Just to check, Was it like 8?
So I was, year 5, year 6 at primary school. So yeah, it was about It's about 10, 9, 10. Yeah.
Same question. And I hope you don't mind me calling you uncle. Like, you know, it's very respectful.
Sorry, I'm a grandfather actually.
Okay, so you're okay with me saying Uncle Lemba, you're okay
So
with me?
you're actually downgrading me.
Okay, sorry, wash food.
Similar to Chisola, I think I had two. My main passion, my interest as a child was I was always just dealing with electronics. Anything that needed fixing, you know, you live Munganda where the stove is not working. Where's Mulamba? Just to get that one plate on. The thermostat, you know, there's no temperature control. I would always get it going, you know. That was always my passion. But there is something else that happened. When I finished my grade 12 Kapalonga boys, you know what it's like in Zambia. You sit for your exams in November and you don't actually start university until the following September. So there's about 8-10 months of just sitting around. I was quite lucky. One of my mom's sisters bought a shop called Kumatero. And she bought a shop and she says she didn't have anybody to go and run it. And she had asked me, just out of interest, Maba, can you go run this supermarket? So I went to Matera. I was going there every morning. I think in 2 buses. I'll sit in the shop. But the problem is I was as bored as hell. I don't know if anybody has been to the central part of Matera, but opposite Kwadiama bars with music every day. And you know, like there's 2 bars next to each other. They're all playing loud music, trying to outcompete. Yeah, but Philip would know. You look familiar with that. So I was in a supermarket, you know, trying to stock it, trying to sell it, and it just wasn't satisfying me. And again, while going home, I passed through one of my other aunties' home. My mom's family is quite big, and I'll introduce you because actually some of them are here. One of the sisters used to come to the UK to buy things, you know, amakwebo. So she used to buy amatites and bring them to Lusaka. So I would walk past her flat and I said, yeah, if my box says if. Says, yeah, I brought this from London, but I'm failing to sell them. I said, yeah, I'll take them to the supermarket. So I got the tights and brought them to the supermarket, but Matera wasn't really the audience on the market for it. One of my aunts, he was like a nephew to the husband. He was assisting me at the shop. So I gave him a few ties. I said, now Sha, walk around Mutam and just go and knock on doors and try and see if we can ship them. So I'm sat there and 2 hours is back. Ew, what have you done with the amatites? They're gone. Really? So I said, Ew, you can't shop. I'm going. And in all honesty, with a former friend of mine, we went and knocked on doors and we said, straight from London, these are original ties, good quality, and we even given them month end to pay. Those things moved like hotcakes. The problem we had is that we couldn't replenish them because our supply chain was just 2 boxes that I had in the shop. So I found a warehouse that had South African ties. But the thing is, they knew us as these boys who bring in ties from the UK. I couldn't really change that narrative. So I was going back to my shop, we've got a new batch. And those things were just flying like hotcakes. And that's all I was doing. And I think I found an interest in sourcing, buying, selling, and just making a profit. And that's what got me going.
Man, that's an amazing story. So in other words, guys, yeah, if you get it wrong, when you get it right, and you can't meet needs, just keep going.
There's no failure in business.
No, there's only learning.
There's only learning, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I'm going to bring it a little bit more present now. But we've seen now that beginning stage. Somebody was a nurse here. What was that like? Because nursing and entrepreneur, where was the connection? Like, you started as an entrepreneur, ended up working, and then, ended up back in that space. So could you tell us a little bit about that nursing thing and where that came in?
Yeah, definitely. I think my mum is a big inspiration. If you saw the show, you probably saw me get quite emotional talking about my mum. Because she's just always been a bit of a trailblazer when it came to nursing, care. She's always worked within care homes and within that industry and has worked her way up to director level. And I think she's always inspired me because she's always gone after the things that potentially were never earmarked for her. You know, she'll always be breaking barriers. She'll always be going for the roles where she knows it's been earmarked for another person, but she'll still go after it anyway. And she'll be like, listen, if God wants me to have that role, I will have that role. And she's always been that person that will just push through the boundaries. And she really inspired me. So I think I wanted to follow in her footsteps. And that's how I went down the nursing route. I love people, I love caring. And I actually think being able to be good with people is one of the core key skills when it comes to business. Because, you know, like Uncle was saying, when it comes to business and people wanting to either work with you or partner with you, they're looking at you as a person. Like, you might have, you know, a PhD, you might have a master's, you might have a degree, you might have all of these different qualifications, but at the end of the day, people buy into people. They want to buy into who you are. So I think for me, those skills I definitely really just harnessed when it came to my nursing career, and I knew that nursing and caring was big for me, and I just felt like there was still something missing though. There was that fire in my belly that was still like, I love what I'm doing. I'm a children's nurse, so you know, it comes with all the fun of working with children, but I still felt like there was something missing, and that's where I went back to university to do my MBA, and then made the switch into business. So I started by working with a hospital, so I was working as part of their commercial team, so I could get some of that business experience. And then from there, after gaining some experience, I segued into running my own business. But I think getting that bit of experience within healthcare, because it was something I was passionate about, it's where I had a bit of experience myself, was really key into pivoting into the business world.
Wow, that's cool. Okay, so Uncle Mulemba, I think I've got a similar question for you, because you started it 22 years ago, you say, okay? What was it like then? Because that's tech, and tech 20 years ago, I mean, I'm young. I remember going to school and learning how to sign into, you know, your account. Like, oh, this is how you sign into your, was it Hotmail at the time? Or Yahoo? Right? So what was it like entering the tech space at that time?
Shola's raised some very good points. We live in a country that promotes individualism. That's not our culture. Yeah. So we grow by learning from people around us. Our biggest influence is a mom. I also have mine. Now, my story, and I thought about this before today, because I've never done this before. I've never been in front of people and spoke about myself. So the last few weeks I've been thinking about myself, like what is it that people want to hear about me? What's created the person that I am? My father died when I was 9 years old. I saw my mom, I didn't even know she was pregnant at the time. I don't know, but there was 5 of us, and she was pregnant with my last born sister. I didn't know that at the time. But if there's one thing I'm learning now is you know, I think the saying is that women are like tea bags. You don't know how strong they are until you put them in hot water. Then I learned from experiencing life as siblings, just living with mom and seeing how she parented us, the transparency she afforded us as children. We were able to see a lot about life and what she was going through. She didn't hide anything from us. So we grew very quickly. And it's only now that I look at it in reflection that it's shaped who I am today. So going back to your question, in 2003, I already knew 4 years prior that I'm going to run my own business. Okay? So my journey is this. I was lucky enough to get a ZCCM scholarship. Well, I don't know luck, but I got a ZCCM scholarship, which took me to do my A-levels in Padambe, and then I did my electrical and electronics engineering at University of Manchester. 1997, when I graduated, was also the time when they were selling the mines. So I was in a bit of a limbo. Go back home, the mines were not employing. The biggest employers at the time, I think the upcoming biggest employers were telecoms and banking, neither of which was interesting to me. So I needed to try and figure out what I wanted to do. So the first interview I had in the UK, I managed to get a job. I didn't even know then what I wanted to do because, you know, I had a student visa, so how am I going to work? I mean, I'm sure all of us here have dealt with the home office at some point in our lives. But the interview was going so well until I sat down and I said, okay, you know, they offered me the job and I said, okay, here's the deal. My visa expires at the end of the year. And so the guy just, you know, Ron Mayo at the time, he was the MD. I got to know him very well. Put his head in his head and says, dude, what are we gonna do? I said, don't worry, I've got a plan. I'm going to train to be a chartered engineer. And by that, I'm going to go through what they called at the time a training and work experience scheme. So you're given like 2 years and then another 2 years before you become a chartered engineer. I said, that's my route. So I went back to the Institute of Electrical Engineers. I said, right guys, I want to be a chartered engineer. They looked at me and said, dude, the last 2 years you haven't been paying your registration membership fees. So what are you doing back here? So I said, okay, how much do I owe you? I paid them. Went back to ZCCM. I said, guys, I've got an opportunity. They said, no chance. Your obligation is we'll pay for your school fees, but you have to come back and work with us for 3 years. Okay, so I tried. In those days, I don't know about now, but in those days, we knew our home office handlers by their first names. So it wasn't a whole department, you were dealing with one person. So he would call me and he says, Blamba, we're waiting for a release from ZCCM. You've got 30 days to go back. I tried with ZCCM for a few months until eventually I had to call up people to help me out. And it just so happened that the person I called up to help me out is here with me today. Please, Uncle John, could you please stand up? And that's my imam's younger brother, is Mr. John Kasanga. He also went through the mines professionally. So when I told him that your former employers, I'll tell you a little bit about him as well, are bothering me, he managed to make contact and this him gave me a release. So at the time I was waiting for that, I went to the company, Chadwick Web Processing they were called. They used to build big printing machines. And I said to them, guys, I'm sorting out my visa. And I had another job waiting for me that I could have done underground. You know what it's like, where I didn't have to give my name and stuff. But I had to stop all that and said, look, I'm going to try and do this properly. But these are my bills. I need to pay my rent. I need this mobile phone, and this is how much I need to survive. So all I need is for you guys to meet me halfway. and I'll do whatever you need. They couldn't pay me legally. They couldn't put me on the payroll. So Ron Mayo, the MD, we got on. He said to me, okay, Mlemba, we'll give you petty cash. Every Friday, 2 o'clock, you're going to walk upstairs to go and see this lady, and she'll give you 130 pounds every week. That's all we can give you. I said, that would do me. I'll survive. And I did that for 12 months. So what Ron Mayo told me is, okay, let me fill in the timesheets. We can't pay you, but all the work you're doing, just fill in the timesheets. So every Friday I was going upstairs. Only 3 people knew about my situation at that company. My boss, the MD, and this lady. And eventually my visa came through. I received my passport. I went and sat down in Ron Mayo's office with this booklet of timesheets and my passport, and I said, okay, I can now work for you legally, but you have to honor my overtime. So he wrote me a check for about £7,000. That's how I bought my first car. And after that I could travel, because I was writing software for machines, but I couldn't travel with them. And the guys were like, we've just been to America, we've just been to France. No, but you don't like traveling, eh? So I said, I couldn't say anything. But after a year of fighting with the Home Office, I was able to actually work. So the drive to actually get what I wanted, you need to just shut everything out. And the one thing that I'm also teaching my children is you've got to delay your gratification. There were so many things I would have wanted there and then, but I had to think long term. £130 a week was able to look after me. I was on my own, but it couldn't get me anything else. But that was okay because my vision was a bit further down the line. So in terms of entrepreneur spirit, it's not just even the definition of entrepreneurship, it's just the energy to keep going and keep going even when things are stacked against you.
Resilience, man. That's a powerful story. I wish you had told this story sooner, because it would have helped me when I was in Manchester.
It's not too late. So there's a few things we have to learn as Zambians in the diaspora. You know, we have to learn to excel in everything that we do. You know, when you listen to the buzzwords of starting a business now, there's a lot of, oh, you know, you don't need school, you don't need that, but that's not how I was brought up. Master your craft. Yeah, master your craft. You know, she's saying she went into nursing. There's certain things about mastering your craft that nobody else can take away. So all I can say is, whatever you're doing, just be the best at what you do. And we come from Zambia, where we believe in Ubuntu. And in Ubuntu we say, I am because we are. And I just introduced you to my Uncle John. It's not just the part that he played in releasing me, in helping the release from ZCCM. But when I lost my dad, I had to look for other father figures in my life. He was one of them. And in the early 90s, when he started his own consultancy firm, he was the only person I knew who did that around me. And he made it, he planted a seed in me that it was possible. So even when I was thinking about it 10 years later, I knew that it could be done. So you know, maybe what we then need to do is pay this forward. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Oh, okay. Now, back to my sister. You know, your little brother did say something about a space, and I wasn't going to mention it, but Nando's popped up. And after hearing his story, I'm like, actually, you've had a journey. So you can tell us about the dips now. Like, what would you say was a low point where you felt, okay, yeah, things are tight. You know, things are not nice.
So that probably began when I failed my A-levels. I think at that moment I was like, how am I ever gonna get out of this situation? How am I gonna succeed? I always knew that I wanted to do well. And when I failed my A-levels, I was like, this is the end of the world. Like, I'm not gonna be able to achieve anything in life. And I remember having a conversation with, at the time, a lecturer from my college, and I spoke to them, and they spoke to me about exploring different avenues. And I was like, A-levels is all I know. I only know A-levels. I went to a grammar school, that's just what we do. We all do our A-levels. And they were like, well, you know, there's different things that you could do, diplomas, there's apprenticeships, etc. And I was just like, I don't know anything else but A-levels. And they spoke to me about the business and finance diploma. And she was explaining what it would entail, the fact that it was fast track, the fact that I would gain all of these different skills after doing it. And I remember thinking, like, this isn't going to be able to get me to where I want to be. But after actually agreeing to do it, because I was like, I'm at a lost cause, or that's how I felt, I agreed to do this business and finance diploma. And in fact, I actually excelled in that business and finance diploma based on the structure of the curriculum and the fact that it was, you know, a mixture of exams, a mixture of practical things that you'd have to do. And I remember thinking, okay, so this wasn't so bad. And from there I was thinking, so how am I going to be a nurse after doing a business and finance diploma? How am I going to make the switch? Because I still just really want to be a nurse, which is why I did my A-levels. And somehow I was still able to apply to university with my business and finance diploma and get onto a nursing degree with my business and finance diploma. No science, no background in healthcare, but I was still able to apply it, and I managed to get onto the course. So, you know, once I started my paediatric nursing degree, I'm a chronic migraine sufferer, so I've suffered with migraine since I was probably about 14, 15, and these are severe chronic migraine, like they're debilitating. I literally can't get out of bed, I lose my vision, I can't function physically, and these can just happen at different times. Sometimes I've been driving and it's been really dangerous. So I, 2 years into my degree, they were so bad that I had to stop my degree. And again, at that point, I was thinking, I don't know what I'm going to do with life, because I keep having to stop things because my chronic migraine is getting in the way. It's stopping me from being able to function, it's stopping me from being able to process, it's stopping me from being able to do a lot of things. And during that time is when I was working at Nando's, that's where it comes in. I was just working part-time, you know, in the restaurants, trying to earn a bit of money. But when I needed to defer from my university degree, I was like, I can't just work in the shop floor at Nando's because I'm always looking for my next moves. And there was an opportunity that came up in head office, which again I was underqualified for, did not have the experience for, didn't have the background in, and I applied for this role as a regional trainer working in HR. And you know, it only takes that one person to believe in you. And my former boss took a chance on me. She said, you don't necessarily have the qualifications, you've never been a manager before, and you're going to be training managers on how to be better managers. You don't have any experience in this, but you've got the right values and behaviours, and that's what I can see in you. I can see the right values and behaviours, so I'm going to take a chance on you. And she did, and I ended up working there full-time for over a year, and, you know, managed to work with so many different people. I was working with 73 different restaurants in the region, and I was, you know, 22 at the time, so very young and still very early in my career journey. But that happened because of me not being able to continue my studies because of the chronic migraine. And so I always say that everything does genuinely happen for a reason. And I did that for a year, and my nursing degree said, if you don't come back next year, you're going to lose your 2 years of nursing. So I said, right, I'm going to finish my nursing degree. And that's what I did. I left Nando's at that time. It served its purpose. I've still got great relationships with them now. But I left there, finished my nursing degree, and that's how I then obviously completed and went on to actually work full-time. But I think there was definitely moments in that, especially with struggling with migraine and chronic illness, where you think, I'm never going to be able to have a normal job, work a normal 9 to 5, because I'm not functioning very well, and this can happen at any period of time. But I would say that resilience to keep trying, to keep on going, that resilience that Uncle talked about as well. And also just having, like I said, that one person that took a chance on me at that time allowed me to develop my skills even further.
Oh man, again. The funny thing about this is, as people, we tend to see walls, you know, or roadblocks, rather than humps and hurdles. And sometimes, again, a closed door, we think that's the end of the road, but then we realize it actually is showing us an open gate that we keep missing. So those stories are both really amazing because you're learning how to pivot, you know. But then again, also what you said there, you're your mother's child by the looks of it because you're knocking on doors that you shouldn't be knocking on, but they're opening. So yeah, by God's grace. Man, we're about to round up. So I think what I would like to give, I'll start with you. If there's anything you would like to, you know, share with this group of people about being in business that you haven't said thus far, or even if you just want to press home a point, what would that be? What would that advice look like?
I think there's so many different things that I could say, but I think if I was to pinpoint it to one thing, I'll try and chime in one more. But yeah, if it was one thing, it would be the difference that separates people from becoming business owners, entrepreneurs, etc. It's actually starting and having a go. I think lots of people have ideas. Lots of people talk about ideas. You know, you sit, you talk with your friends, you say, you know, it'd be really good if we could start X, Y, and Z. Yeah, you know, we really need that, or it would be so good if we could do this. And you know, you get excited and you talk about these different ideas. But what separates us is actually being able to push forward and have a go and go for it and launch. Not just talking, but launching. And you know what, like Uncle said, there's no failure in business, you're learning. So yes, that one business or that one idea, it might not work. It might not be the one that makes you a millionaire. It might not be the one that makes you lots of money, but you've had a go, you've started, you've tried. And once you can kind of break that ceiling of trying and giving it a go and not feeling like people are just going to laugh at me if I try this out, or I'm really conscious of everybody around me, once you can get past that, you will go far because you'll keep trying and you'll keep going until you find something that you succeed in. So that's, if I could give one piece of advice, that would be it. And I guess the other thing that I would just weave into that is that you can always pivot in business. So you can start, you can launch, and you can pivot. Something might not be working, you change direction. Something might not be working again, you change direction. And that's okay. That's all part of business, that's all part of learning. And that's probably the biggest piece of advice that I can give someone here today.
Thank you. Uncle.
Funny enough, that's the same advice.
No, you can't do that.
Okay, let me amplify. Let me amplify. So in Bemba there's a saying at Ukulanda kwalianguka. Inch to air, like talk is cheap. I see it a lot. I belong to a lot of WhatsApp groups, as we all do. We all have solutions for Zambi, by the way. Pama WhatsApp group. Anatualikuwa solutions. There is a lot of discussion, you know, there's a lot of talk, which also brings about a lot of stagnation. So, yes, my advice is just that. We always think about the barriers, whether it's finance, time, there's a lot of things playing at us, but if you try, if you start, you learn a lot. There's a lot of businesses that we know today that did not start in the form that we know them as today. Before I started 2M Automation as a limited company, as a co-founder with a business partner, my first company, I'm going back to Ron Mayo that you now know very well, he knew my situation. So Chadwick Web Processing, 2 years into the business, the company finally shut down. It was a 100-year-old business in the little town of Oldham where I was. A huge engineering firm, every engineer within like a 50-mile radius had something to do with this business. But it was finally shutting down. Now, Ron Mayo knew that I was halfway through my chartered visa situation, and he promised me that he would find a solution for me, but he didn't. Fortunately, one of my mentors went and got directorship in a very small company, and he headhunted me. So that's how I transitioned. However, because I was one of the few software guys in Chadwick, a lot of these guys have been there for years. They set up their own businesses, but they didn't have a lot of software guys. So they were all coming to you, but we're trying to refurb this machine in Mexico, but we need some software. So I then set up a little sole trader business, and I was basically, while working with a full-time job, I was doing software for these guys who basically started business servicing these machines all over the world. But within that, I learned how to quote, I learned how to invoice, I learned how to price my services, but it also meant I was giving up my weekends because I still needed to work my normal day during the day. So the main point is just start. I didn't know where it was going to go. I just thought, okay, I'll do this weekend. And after some point, I was making between 25 to 30% of my salary by just working the weekend. And by that, I learned a lot more about business. There were gaps in my knowledge. I was a good engineer, but I was gaps in my knowledge. So like you, I went back to school. I learned, I studied business management. And once I had an understanding of that, I knew how to invoice, I knew how to quote, I now knew the business language. Yeah, they can't catch me. I know my craft. I understand the business language. I've experienced trading. What's there to stop me? So I was leaving a very good job. I sat down with my business partner, and we didn't really have a plan. We had premises, but we just said, we've got to start. We turned over £96,000 that first year. It was the proudest year of my life. I mean, I just couldn't believe I could go into business, and within the first year, we were turning over. I don't care what the margins were, but the fact that people handed over £96,000 just to two guys who had no background. So that's where it started. And so yes, I'll follow up on her advice, just start. Even if you've got a main job, just start. Start by trading, start with things that you can fail at and it doesn't affect you. That's what I would say.
Thank you. Okay. Before I open up the floor, I've got my own little personal question here. What's it like being on The Apprentice? Seriously, please tell us a little bit about that before I open up the floor. What was that experience like, meeting like-minded individuals but competing with them at the same time and having to work with them at the same time? And Lord Sugar, Tim, just fill me in.
Do you know what? It was one of the most rewarding experiences that I've been a part of. It was definitely, I think, very eye-opening. It was challenging. It was tough. I think sometimes when you watch it on TV, you think, I could do so much better than them. I know I was that person as well when I've watched it over the years. Like, what are they doing? Like, why are they making these decisions? But yeah, it was challenging because you're living with these 18 individuals. Your phones are taken away from you. We have no contact with the outside world. We're stripped back from everything that we know. And but then we're also competing with them. So you're in the boardroom one minute, and then you're back at home together, and you're meant to be chilling, pally, etc. And I think some people found that a lot more difficult than others. But we used to say, what happens in the boardroom stays in the boardroom, and don't bring it back to the house with you. But it was tough for people. It was really tough. But I think just being able to be, like you said, around like-minded business people that. I call it a big networking event that happens. Yes, we were part of a competition. yes, there were, lots of people around, and yes, we were doing tasks, but for me it was one big networking session because there are 18 individuals that I would never have met in real life. And, for all of us to have made it out of 80,000 applicants to the final 18, is a huge, obviously, accomplishment in itself. So it was amazing to be with those people, talking about business, talking about their lives, their journeys, their stories, and understanding that. And I think, again, it just honed on those people skills that I was talking about, because you're listening, you're learning, you're thinking, okay, great, maybe after this we can cross paths and we can partner together. So yeah, it was a great experience. I think it really pushed me out of my comfort zone. I tried to really immerse myself into the process. You saw me yodeling on week 1. Can
we hear a bit of that?
No yodeling today. But, I was yodeling, I was acting, I was selling on TV, I was pitching to investors. I really tried to immerse myself into the process because I wanted to give it my all. And, we were talking about being the best at our craft and being excellent and striving for excellency. And that's what I always do in everything that I do. So it was an amazing experience, an amazing achievement. And yeah, I guess Lord Sugar himself is firm but fair. He's not as scary as he looks on the TV. But yeah, he's firm but fair. But yeah, absolutely amazing experience.
Thank you. Wow. So I'm going to stand up with the mic. If you've got... Oh, you there? Oh, perfect. DJ Shimpondo. Yeah, if there's any questions, please just put your hand up and DJ Shimpondo will pass you the mic.
Hi, thank you very much. I just wanted to, mine is not a question, I just wanted to compliment my brother, Mulemba there, to say I was living in Manchester in about 2001, 2002, so I was working for the Manchester Chamber of Commerce, telesales, and the reason I got the job is because all the Zambians I found in Manchester were wearing shirt and tie. So even me, I decided to get just any job, so long I wear shirt and tie. And I found myself working for the Manchester Chamber of Commerce. My job was to make appointments for small, medium enterprises. So I used to move with my business card. Came across that gentleman there and said, I've got a business. Said, what business? Is it a business in your council flat or in an office? Because us, we only visit offices. He said, no, it's in an office, Gianni. So I went to his office, saw it, came back to the Chamber of Commerce, and I went to see this guy called David Sheffer, who was the best BDM. And I arranged for him to go and visit Molemba. And he came to the office, and he said, this was very rare. He said, that friend of yours is going to make it. But me, as a typical Zambian, I doubted it. I just thought, it will be one of the businesses we see that tomorrow they're back to a security job. So I'd like to just say, Molemba, well done. I saw the journey. I came to the office. Everything is said here is actually true. That's what I just wanted to say, that I was there. This guy is real. And as well, Madam Chisola as well, looking at you as a young girl coming to support the Zambian football team, to see you on TV. I don't normally watch TV or BBC, I watch Nigerian movies, but now I'll be watching BBC Apprentice. Thank you very much.
Any questions? Any questions before we close? Man, okay. Yeah, I think I'm also just going to share. We share something here quite similar. So she finished 4th. I finished 4th in a reality TV show too. And when we talked about it, yeah, I wish my reality TV show was hers. So to leave you guys with that, feel free, you can network, speak to me afterwards. Speak to me. Nah, I'll let you guys do the research. I'm joking, I was on Big Brother Africa, by the way. But yeah, thank you ladies and gentlemen for being here today. Thank you to our beautiful guests for just being so... Yep, what, you have a question?
Not a question, but there's 3 people that want to talk for 5 minutes, if that's all right. Simply Accounts, Diaspora Insurance, and Kalende.
Of course. We're just going to say goodbye to... yeah.
just want to add one more thing. So I ran it's saying tech, but I ran an engineering business. I'm just reaching out to anybody in the diaspora. If you've got aspiring kids who want to train to be engineers, I'm constantly running apprenticeship programs. So if anybody is interested to get into engineering and you know somebody, you've got a nephew, a niece, bring them my way. Even if it's just a 2-week placement, we've got to try within the community to give our children an upper hand. So if it's just a little bit of exposure to what is going on in the engineering world and it gives them an advantage, that's what my business would do.
So that was going to be the closing, is how could we as a community help you guys? So you've mentioned this. What age groups are we looking at?
It's interesting actually. My friend who's just showed up, Z, we've just signed something with his son. He's Z, please. How old is Musungi?
He's 15.
Musungi is 15. He's in year 10. Year 10.
Yeah.
So officially, most schools would do like a 1-week placement, and if you're even so, I can start as early as that. So that placement that they do at school, it's not the first time I've done that as well. If they want to have an understanding, and a lot of time at 15, they don't know exactly which engineering field they want to do.
Yeah.
So it's not just my business, but I've also got a network of other business owners who are all mechanical or electrical or software, and I can place them in all these different places.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And
There was a hand here before.
oh, perfect.
My name is Peter Achapo. I'm not Zambian, I'm Ghanaian. But 40 years ago, this man here called Joseph, we met studying accountancy, and I lost touch with him. And it was through Dr. Mombi that I found him. So that's why I'm here today. I live in Northampton. I'm not a businessman like you guys, but increasingly in the last 20 years, I've become a businessman, meaning I've combined accountancy with IT. So I think this young lady, I used to watch Apprentice a lot when it started with Donald Trump, and then I'm not sure, but I've stopped watching it, but now I'll start watching again. What I do, when I say I'm not a businessman, I've had a pivot in my career. I think most Africans and most black people, we know we face a lot of challenges, and we need to mention them. Opportunities, lack of promotion. So I think to progress here, you need to add a business element to whatever profession you're in. So today, I've been into Nottingham, I've been to Cambridge. These are 2 clients. I implement IT systems for. The software I specialize in is called SAP. It's a big IT system that manages big companies. So any company, global companies, use this software. And to implement it, the chance of succeeding in the implementation is 10%. And most times when I get involved, they've been running the program for years and failing, and then they call me and they go and fix it. So 100%. Yeah, so that's what I do. What's my message? I think anything you're doing in your current position, whether you're in the healthcare sector, nurse, pharmacist, doctor, if you want to add something else to it, I think you need to kind of try and see, okay, 9 to 5 I do this, but then extra hours you have, what else can you do? Because you've got the skills, who else can you sell it to? So currently I've got 3 projects on the run. One, the Cambridge one is US based, the Nottingham one is UK based, and this morning I had another conversation with another client, they want me to come and help them. So my advice is, we can all do better. And if you start to think of your job as a business, at the moment, you're offering to one client, you offer the same skills and services to a second client, a third client, a fourth client. That's my message. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so there's more questions finally coming. Guys, what happened? When I called for the questions, everyone was shy, and now all of a sudden it was like, oh, yeah, me too.
They need to hear one person talk first.
Well, before we move on to that question, in fact, no, let's have your question, Dora, and then I'll go back to the question of how we can help you.
Well, I just wanted to say well done to both of you. I don't watch much TV, so unfortunately I didn't see the show, but when I sent the flyer to my sister, she was like, yeah, we were actually rooting for her. We were, and yes, they're really, really proud. I just wanted to say that, the whole Zambian community is really proud of your achievement, and also just listening to your journey. As a business owner myself, I'm a chartered accountant and I run my own accountancy business. But just listening to what you're saying, and a lot of it I can relate, about never giving up and just go for it, and just, having that one qualified person that believes in you. I just wanted to say, you know what, take advantage of that, and I'm so glad to have come here because I didn't even know about this event until the friend of mine sent me the leaflet, and I booked on Eventbrite. And whoever is not, I would just encourage everybody that if you're not on the database, which I've also given my details, just so that in any future events that come up, just get on the database and just, be a part of it. Because imagine all of us in this room, the difference. The Bible says, one person shall chase 1,000, 2, 10,000. Now imagine all of us here, the ideas, if we put them all together and, what we can achieve. Not just 2 people, but all of us here. So I just wanted to say, well done in your accomplishment. And, it's quite inspiring to hear where you've come, the journey you've made, and, where you're going. The sky is only the limit. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so before we close off and let our guests take a seat, and then the rest can come up and talk a little bit about what they're up to in terms of diaspora insurance. Please, my sister, can you tell us how could we as a community amplify or connect, or what do you need from us, or what can we do to help you move forward?
Yeah, thank you. So as I mentioned before, I run a virtual assistant company. It's called CB Virtual Assistant, and we support directors with admin, HR, project management, basically anything that bogs you down and you don't potentially have the resource to hire somebody full-time. We can slot in quite seamlessly into your teams. So I guess it's if you yourself are a business owner and you're potentially feeling quite bogged down with all of the tasks and the jobs that you have to do, then definitely get in touch. Or if you know anybody else who might be in a similar position, then also get in touch. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, I have a website as well, so you can connect with me further on there. And yeah, I would say that's me.
Thank you both for, taking time out of your days to be here with us. And yeah, just guys, round of applause please for our beautiful guests.
I just wanted to add a big thank you for the team who organised this. And I think, us as Zambians, especially in the UK, we're few and far between. So we need to come together, unite together and come together so we can, 1, celebrate success, but 2, support each other in our endeavours as well. So I just wanted to say a big shout out to the team as well.
And now, can we get you guys to come up?
Good evening. Mine is going to be very quick. First of all, congratulations to 2 previous speakers, to my brother, Mr. Kandeke here. So, luckily, unfortunately, probably were both tutored by the same person, Mr. John Kasanga. Product of Mr. Kasanga's IMCS. That was probably my first gig. Consulting made me what I am today. Luckily, and very fortunate, my mother was a Kandeke, so just as you know, we're all from Bala, just like Madam Chitambala there. So I run, probably for you, few of you who might know, Zambians Together UK, President of Zambians Together UK. But my message here is more from a diaspora, but also from a government point of view, because currently we're trying to, currently we're trying to see how we can plug in and figure out from a diaspora point of view, because obviously we've been called out from the state that the diaspora stop drinking your, green tea, pull the money out of your pockets, stop saving it in the accounts when you can spend it back. We've got an energy crisis. So my call is to those of you within the diaspora who have connections with within the energy industry here who want to finance energy projects back home, who want to develop energy projects back home, please get in touch with myself. Sean has got a contact. I have some information because I have been tasked to try and coordinate some diaspora response to it. We're looking at 1,000 megawatts by the end of the year. That's from the state. They have a few blueprints of where you can quickly plug in for those who've got quick finance and development, that they're already there, sorted out. They don't need you to start doing your environmental impact assessments. You know, they've cut it down to 48 hours if you're ready, for you to get your information and see where you want to develop. So my call is for the diaspora, just as Madam Shabala said, but also from what Mr. Katega said. We as a diaspora have to galvanize ourselves. We can't be working in isolation, in small silos, because we're probably duplicating the same thing. But I think we also have to be asking the right questions. And from I'm just having a conversation with the Deputy High Commission, I deal with them probably on a daily basis. I'm probably a thorn in their backsides. But it's all about how do we get them to be proactive. Give us information, because I think the bulk of what our challenge is from a diaspora point of view is how much information do we get about what's happening back home? How much are they telling us? Currently, the Minister of Energy is here. I did meet him yesterday. He's got a meeting with some investors tomorrow. But are they coming to meet us, to talk to us, to tell us about this information? Because there's no point in me standing here to try and tell you when they've got someone there, or they've got someone within the High Commission here who should be feeding us that information. Be it in education, be it in agriculture. But as I said, I think the thorn right now is diaspora response in the energy sector. They've done something. It's now us to call their bluff, because I think it's always been a cat and mouse with the diaspora, and the Zambian government does too. Yes, you want us to be involved. We want to get involved, then we hit a brick wall. I think because of the crisis, maybe they've sussed it out, probably they've awakened to the situation that probably they need to make things a bit easier. We don't want a red carpet. Never asked for a red carpet. We just said, be serious, tell us what you want. How do we have a framework of how the diaspora gets involved? So for us, it's all about put your fingers up, put yourself out there, come on board. Those who have solutions, those who've got finance, those who might just be interested to find out how do we want to go about it. So that's my call today. Sean might be there to give you my contacts. If not, come around, try and get hold of me, and then we can see how we can run this conversation. I think we have an opportunity here.
Thank you.
For us to make an impact.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Up next, let's try and keep it to a minute, yeah?
Good evening, everyone. I'll try to keep it a minute, though it's quite long, but I'll try to summarize it. Thank you very much to our guest speakers that we are front here. I'll definitely get in touch with you. My son wants to be an engineer, so I think I found a solution for him. My name is Bobet. I'm the business development manager for SADC countries from Diaspora Insurance. Our company covers about 20 African countries at the moment, but our aim is that we want to cover all African countries so that they can benefit from what we are offering to them. So our product is a very simple product. It's a cash funeral product whereby our founders were inspired by what was happening around the diaspora community, wherever they are in the world. I'm sure you'll agree with me. You have come across some people facing things like a GoFundMe, and people are actually in trouble when that problem strikes. So now as diaspora, we say, okay, we want to reduce that problem, and by introducing a cash funeral plan, which can be used anywhere in the world. You don't have to worry to say, probably maybe you're on holiday in Morocco, or you are in Niagara Falls. God forbid something happens there. We start wondering and asking questions, how do we repatriate our loved one to their home country? So cash is a borderless product that we are offering as Diaspora Insurance. We are headquartered in Birmingham. We are registered by the FCA. We are not a fly-by-night organization. We've been in operation for the past 13 years. So we are here to conscientize each one of us. And at the end of this talk, I would like to actually implore each one of us here. I know somehow, you know someone that is not actually covered. So refer them to us, and then we'll take it over from there. So thank you very much.
Well done. And do we have like 2 more minutes because I'd like us to also network. So is there anyone else?
Simply account.
Oh, sorry, Stephen. Of course.
You can see I'm wearing the hat. Now I'm talking about simply accounts. But you've tasted the sausages. For those who have, I hope we kind of delighted you tonight. Yeah. Okay, remember, I hope you were delighted to taste the sausages. Spirit journey, like all the things that Lepa and Zola were talking about. It's just what we experience, you know. So I've got business called Simply Accounts, and I do help people a lot. There's a website. So I've put a QR code like this lady. She's also an accountant. So in the diaspora, things are done by accountants. Because when you start a business and you try to figure out things, a lot of problems can be avoided because you don't want to be distracted by things that can be done by someone else. So just having an accountant on your side can develop your business in ways you can't imagine. And I've seen people's journeys from initially when they started with an idea and seeing them making money over 5-10 million. It's very possible. As we have ideas that we can give people, and if you have a good idea, the accountant can be your sounding board, and they can help you to accelerate your ideas. So hopefully that could be one of your alternatives. So I've got some business cards which have been given out. If you're interested, please do get in touch. Thank you.
Well done, thank you. So, yeah, my name's Jerome Arab, and I've been your host. I know things did not go according to time, but I hope we still had a good time. Thank you all for being here. And I run a company called Underrated Individuals. We help people, we empower people, especially our people, underutilized, marginalized talent to realize their full potential by providing them with business acumen, resources, and anything related, and connecting them to people like yourselves. So please feel free. I also sell children's books, so I've got some QR codes there. I'll put them on discount, so you can actually order them from me directly. It's Underrated Individuals, just there. Can you see by the laptop? Yeah, just there by that laptop. Yeah, that's where we are. So thank you again, and without me saying too much more, DJ Shimpondo, are you going to please say what you need to?
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. I'm your DJ tonight, but I've also got a message for you guys. You know what? Sometimes we need titles to our name in order for our business, or our clients to actually believe in us and actually stick to us. So what I'm asking for some of you, please, let's continue developing ourselves. So if you're interested to apply for a DBA or a PhD, you can see me so that I can give you my contacts. I am Dr. Henry Mumbi. I'm a senior lecturer at the Montfort University. So we can talk. I'm in the faculty of business. I've been teaching for more than 15 years now. My background is that I was a ZAF pilot, helicopter pilot in Zambia, commissioned by President Kenneth Kaunda. And I was actually sponsored, to Greece, so I speak Greek as well, to start medicine. And I did medicine until we started doing the clinics and all that. And that's when everything broke down. That's a story for another day. So see me, thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that marks the end of this, but we're still here until 9 o'clock, so please, you know, mix, mingle, change numbers, find out information, and thank you guys for being here. Stay blessed. DJ Shipundu, please drop the tracks. DJ. DJ.
I'm going to give you a CD put this in there as well. But I'll need your information.